Orton and that Matt Orton and RK Bro match and the women's match is mildly interesting to me. The rest of them, yeah. Nah.
Well, there might be a lot of matches. Could be bathroom breaks.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yo.
Personally, I am. Well, first of all, we can talk about it later, but I think it's time for Survivor Series to go.
Some people can hang up their towel. Yeah, it's not what it used to be. It's not what it used to be.
It's not. I don't think it is. What y'all got going?
Trying to pull up the card here and see who. Yeah, I mean the Roman and Big E match. It's got to be a no finish some kind, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine either one of them taking a loss.
Oh, Big E will take the loss for sure. Roman won't. Which
Then
is,
why
I
book
mean, they're going to eventually turn on Roman if they don't do something.
One of them can take the loss. Then why book?
He can't keep winning. They can't turn him into Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan in the 80s and early 90s, they turn him into that, it's going to be some problems.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they're going to beat Big E right now. I don't think either one of them could. Roman ain't going to take the loss. Not a clean loss.
Look, didn't he lose to Xavier Woods last week? But then they reversed. He lost by disqualification, and this week on SmackDown they reversed it and said that it was a no contest. Did that really happen?
I saw where Woods had him pinned, and the Usos grabbed Woods' legs and pulled him out of the ring and started beating the shit out of him.
Right, that was a disqualification. But this week they said it was a no contest.
Hey, if that's the strangest shit that the WWE pulls this week, that'd be pretty good. I don't know.
I think the point I'm making is that they don't want him to have a loss on his record, not even a disqualification.
Which goes back to the
you're probably right.
Question. Why book the match if one of them can't lose? You're already going into the pay-per-view in your mind that neither one of them can afford a loss. So why book the match? The whole brand of bread thing, it was probably cool when they first did the brand separation. But now it's just like, all right, I'm Team SmackDown. I'm Team Raw. All right, cool. But now you got champions against champions, and then you got people who can't take losses, which whoever said earlier, now you're going to get a bunch of DQs, non-finishes. So you pretty much wasted almost 2-3 hours of just watching a match where it's not going to be a clean finish, or it's going to be a draw or something like that. I mean, I just wish they would do it the old way. Where they had guys, heels versus faces. You got a heel captain, he picks his heels. Face captain, he picks his face captains. Fuck, go back to the nicknames they used to have and shit. So, and you just have your traditional maybe 2 or 3 matches of 5-on-5, and then maybe you'll have a title match where you're not against a contender instead of another champion. Because I mean, right now, and I agree with the curtain. I agree with him that I mean, what I mean, you watching for a bunch of non-finishes. 'Cause that's what's going to do. I mean, at least one of them, at least. I don't know what they. I mean, you got Becky and Charlotte, right? I mean, that's still going down, right? Nothing changed on
Right.
that. Okay, so is that going to be a non-finish? Is somebody going to be had a show to sit a mat for the 3 count? I don't know. Fuck, Mahomes got picked off. I don't know. So you got intrigue, but at the
That's
same
the big-
time, it's kind of like
That's probably the most, and it's not even the main event, but that's probably the most interesting thing about Survivor Series is what's going to happen between Becky and Charlotte. I think they're working us all anyway. I think they're working the
It's
crap out of
possible.
us.
Oh, I think it's all work too. But no, I mean, as far as the non finishes go, it wouldn't be the first time WWE booked themselves into a corner. You know, without a thought of how are they going to get out of this? You know, looking good.
Right.
Well, I think that Survivor Series has just become let's give the fans the cross promotions, but you know, the Raw versus SmackDown but nothing really intriguing. It's, you know, like you guys said, no one wants to see Roman lose to Big E with no story behind it.
Let me ask you this: Is it a throwaway pay-per-view now? Because it kind of seems like it. Is Survivor Series throwaway
Are any of them other than WrestleMania not throwaway paper? I mean, it seems like the pay-per-view is set up now to promote the TV show. Back when it used to be the other way around, you know, they don't got to worry about selling the pay-per-view now. You get it free with the network.
That's true.
Yeah, but Royal Rumble is the most popular pay-per-view.
Yeah, Royal Rumble isn't. Survivor Series isn't. I tell you honestly, I think the Money in the Bank has become more important than Royal Rumble now. Because you actually have some stakes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You mean Survivor Series?
Yeah, over Survivor Series. Yeah, I think Money in the Bank is more important than Survivor Series. You actually have, you know, people. There's going to be a story that comes out of it every time, you know, and usually a new story.
And I agree with that because with the Royal Rumble, it's lost its meaning over the last couple of years because you get the woman or girl who wins the match and supposed to be the number one contender going into Mania, automatic title shot.
But you get the point, man.
Then, you get the point. But then the other 29 boys and girls that's in it, all they got to do the next night is come down to the ring and say, hey, I want to challenge you for the title. Voila, they just get an instant title match. When you had other people the night before had to try to earn their way. So why even bother participating in the Royal Rumble when the next day I can just go issue a challenge to you and you're going to accept? And I get an instant title match.
Okay.
Yeah, but you don't get the title
You
don't get the title match at the big event. So
it's been like that before. I can't recall. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the archive. It's been like that. It happened at least once or twice where you had all these people competing in the Rumble, and then the ones that got eliminated, one of them that comes out and just said, "Hey, whatever, this, that, and other. I want to challenge you to a match," and they get it right then and there, or they get it. They might get it at Mania. I have to look, but I'm sure it's happened before. It's because meaning that the winner of the match is supposed to be a special thing. That's supposed to be kind of the person that's that's been a breakthrough that they about to get behind. And, you know, I think I might be wrong. There's probably people before him. But I think one of the last people that you felt when they run the Rumble, you was like, yeah, they gonna get this man the title. They gonna give him a nice little push. Was Del Rio? Del Rio when he won the Rumble, I was like, man. But we getting off track. We're supposed to be talking about Survivor Series, but yeah, I mean, Royal Rumble is almost kind of like that maybe throwaway because the winner's not really. It's supposed to be the winner going against the champion. And sometimes you get an outsider coming in, then it makes it a three-way. Shit like that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, my opinion, I agree with Joseph partly, is that the Money in the Bank ladder match pay-per-view is more important but I think it's more important than Survivor Series. In fact, I think it should replace Survivor Series. Royal Rumble, the Royal Rumble concept is fine because it always leads to some type of excitement. We might not get the winner that we want, but we at least get surprises during both matches. So I'm fine with them keeping the Royal Rumble how it is because technically the winner of the match, both matches, they get to be in the main event for the world title at WrestleMania, which if you go by wrestling standards, you get a bigger purse at WrestleMania. Everybody on the card gets paid more. So that is a goal for winning the Royal Rumble. I just don't like Survivor Series anymore. Unless they go back to how they booked Survivor Series in the 90s, I don't like it anymore. I really don't. I don't care about seeing world title matches at Survivor Series. I want 5-on-5 feuds. I want the 5 men that's going against the other 5 men in the the Survivor Series match. I want them to hate each other for 6 weeks leading into that match. It should be feuds. At least 6 weeks worth of feuds between all the people on all the teams. I don't care how you do it, but that's all I care about in Survivor Series. That's what we grew up on. Why change it?
So do you think the way to fix it is just keep it, in your brand? So have 2 SmackDown teams going against each other, 2 Raw teams going against each other?
That's even if they got enough bodies to do that.
That question's loaded. That question's loaded for me, Joseph. Personally, I don't like the brand split at all. I never have. I've never liked the brand split. My main reason for not liking the brand split is because I don't like it being 2 world champions in the same company at the same time. It makes absolutely no sense. You call the women's champion the SmackDown women's champion and the Raw women's champion. You call the men's the WWE champion and the Universal champion instead of the world champion. That's logically doesn't make any sense to me. It's like one title is inferior to the other one, even though it's a world title. And then the same thing for the women's. The women's aren't as important as the men's because they're just branded titles.
That's a whole different. That subject is like a whole podcast. To be honest with you, you can make a whole podcast out of that one.
I don't like the brand split. John Cena has won 16 world titles, which is the same amount as Ric Flair, because they had 2 titles at one time.
I never thought of it that way.
I think John Cena won 16 world titles because Vince McMahon wanted him to tie. And even if they only had 1 world champion, he wanted John Cena to be the man because he was raking in the dough and he was super popular at the time.
Quite possible. However, he likely would have just held it for a longer time. Because look at it. If you look at, I can't remember the time frame, but I did research this at one time. I think within a 3.5 year span, he won the title 12 times.
No
Something
way.
like that.
Are you serious?
That might not be right. It might be in a 3.5 years, he won it like 8, 9 times, something like that. I'll look it up again. I'll have it ready for the next podcast. John Cena title reigns.
Yeah, I'm going to Google it.
I'm like, shit, that's a lot of losing too. I mean,
Yes.
if he had that many title reigns, he'd lost a handful of matches too.
Let's look it up on
I mean,
Wikipedia. Probably be
wasn't
easier.
wasn't the original Survivor Series? Wasn't there there was multiple 5-on-5 matches? Wasn't there?
Yeah, that was.
I mean, there was like I
It
think
was
wasn't
like
the
I
whole
said,
show that?
for the most part, you might had a heavyweight title. Well, you know what? Actually, you did, because at that time you think Hogan was the champion and
Yep.
he was on the team.
Let's see. You had
He was the captain of the team.
Yeah, so you might have
yeah.
had just straight 5-on-5s.
You had
through
a
the whole
5-on-5, then you had another 5-on-5, then you had a 10-on-10, and
Damn.
a 5-on-5.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
A 10-on-10, that's crazy.
Yeah,
And some of those,
getting everybody a
some of
paycheck.
those are memorable. Some of those are memorable. What is I cannot, in the last 10 years, the only memorable Survivor Series match I can think of is the one that involved NXT.
No, you got to go way back to that. You got to go Survivors. Well, you talking about just the 5-on-5?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about in the last 10 years. What memorable matches do you remember from Survivor Series? It involving this brand split stuff. You only remember the NXT one. Can you think of any?
What memorable matches in the last 10 years for any pay-per-view WWE can you remember? I mean,
Oh, and I can remember some memorable matches. Yes.
Well, are you including NXT with that? Because I mean, they under the umbrella. Shit, I can ride off of. Yeah, that the one in Barclays. To me, that was probably, in my opinion, probably the best women's match I ever seen in my life. The Three Falls Count Anywhere, I think it was in Canada, between DIY and
the Revival.
The Revival. Yeah, that was fucking. That shit was insane. So
that was in Dallas.
That was in Dallas. I thought
No. I see the one you're talking about. That's not the one I remember the most. The one I remember the most is the Revival against American Alpha.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one was special.
You know what's crazy is that we talk about everything else but Survivor Series. You know, as far as like what's happening tonight, and we did kind of like veered off into talking other stuff, which the stuff we talk about is actually great topics for a handful of podcasts and stuff coming up. As far as like matches in the last 10 years that you enjoyed under the umbrella, memorable Survivor Series matches and stuff like that. So I mean, topics are coming out of this chat when it's supposed to be something that's happening in the next half hour. So that's crazy.
Let's talk about let's start at the most important matches. Then we'll talk about it. The 25-man battle royal. Did you guys even know this? I didn't see. Did I watch SmackDown? I don't remember. I watched SmackDown. Yeah, I did, but I didn't know about the 25-man battle royal tonight.
I saw it on Twitter, so I was aware of it.
Is there a ramification with it? Is there like a reward?
It says here
it's to get
on CBS Sports, says 25-man battle royal announced 2 days before the event. There will be a 25-man cross-brand battle royal. Some big names include Omos, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, the Street Profits, and Alpha Academy. That's all it says.
It's to get everybody on the card.
Everybody.
So there's no, if you win, you get a future title shot or anything like that. It's just a battle royal, no reward.
Bragging rights.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It had a pay-per-view named Bragging Rights, but okay.
Well,
that didn't last long.
I don't see Omos, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, Street Profits, or Alpha Academy getting a title shot, so I don't think that's up for grabs.
Cena won 9 titles in 5 years, in his first 5 years.
World titles, or are you talking about U.S.
World titles.
Oh, okay.
World title 9 times in 5 years. That's just in 5 years. If you add on 2000, if you add on one more year, it goes up to 12. 12 in 6 years.
But he was the machine, man. That machine was just man.
Yes, he
I mean,
was.
That's because
I
you got
can't.
two
But
titles.
I mean, it's hard to kind of say something against that because I mean, let's just be honest. He was bringing in the people, breaking in the cash for the company. You know, you did hit that demographic, so you might as well just run that well until it goes dry. You know,
You'll get no argument from me on how hard he worked. It's just the fact that if there's 2 titles and he won it that many times that amount of years, that doesn't mean he lost it a lot.
Okay, so now let's just be fair, okay? Would 6 in 4 years be a lot also? Because
nowadays, no.
Because Stone Cold won it 6 times.
Right. So let's analyze what Pat just said. He just said nowadays, no. But why are you saying that? You're saying this strictly because you're conditioned to believe that the world title should change hands multiple times because of the WWE being the dominant brand for all these years now. Because if you look at all the other wrestling organizations, nobody's title has changed in 6 times in 4 years or however many years. 6 times in 2 years, 3 years. A bunch of times.
Well, you've got AEW's changed what 3 times in 2 years. But no, I don't know. I grew up with long title reigns. I think that today the people are conditioned to see things change overnight. So I don't think, you know, I don't think that many title changes is 20 years ago. I don't think it would have been even 25, 30 years ago. I don't think that would have been happening. But it seems to be commonplace to me these days. Just look at the 24/7 title.
Oh, well.
Okay.
With my man Truth.
I don't mind the 24/7 title as long as they don't do it every week. If they're not doing it multiple times, you know, when they first got that thing, I liked it, and then I hated it immediately because they had people running all over the arena in multiple segments during the show. That I hate. But if you want to give Gronk the title or give some news reporter a title just to say they're in the record books as a WWE champion, I'm good with that. That way you can literally get your product out to the masses. You can have R-Truth promoting the product somewhere, losing it to some reporter or somebody, a cameraman, whatever. I'm fine with doing that. But to have wrestlers that should be wrestling, but instead of wrestling, they're running all over the arena looking like idiots.
Wasn't that the hardcore title? Didn't the hardcore title do that?
Yeah.
No. The hardcore title was a little different. The hardcore title someone would jump the guy, yes, and take his title, but you wouldn't see the guys. You wouldn't see them interrupting matches, running through matches, jumping.
Oh no! I was just talking about the concept of the title, where the famous one is Crash Holly and that whatever Discovery Zone or whatever he was in, going into the jumping balls and shit. That's like the memorable one I can remember from as far as that kind of title. I guess they just renamed it pretty much. But like you said, about adding the conga line running through the arena trying to catch one dude, that is kind of like, all right, cool beans. But like you said, with I can't remember who the sportscaster was or whatever, who he got the pin and that's cool and everything. But I think they could do a little bit more with it, if they want to. But I mean, I don't know how much you can do I mean, you name the title 24/7. It's literally what it is. It's 24/7. So I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Hey, did you
Sometimes
see
you can work yourself into a corner doing stuff like that.
did you see Orton is about to? I think tonight is. He'll be he'll be in the most pay-per-view matches in the history of WWE.
Yeah, and
That's
tomorrow he'll have the most matches on Raw
Yeah.
ever if he wrestles on Raw.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Coming from the guy that's been suspended so many times. that is crazy.
Yeah,
That's
but he's
crazy.
what, 42? So
He started when he was like 25, so yeah, or 20.
yeah, I mean he's a
And he's been hurt a bunch. So, he would have. How old is Orton?
He's got to be in his
he's like
early 40s. Like, no, he's probably like 43.
41. Born April 1st, 1980. Wow.
Man,
nice.
and I was born 30 days later.
Shit,
May
man,
1st.
I got shoes older than you guys. Okay, let's go. Where's it at? Raw Tag Champion. Raw RK Bro versus the Usos. Who wins?
Yeah, that's what I got next.
I think Jey Uso's gonna eat another pin, unfortunately. He's been the one that's been eating all the pins.
You don't think it's gonna be? You don't think it's
I
gonna
heard
be,
Billy Body was on
Riddle?
keeping it 100 keeping it 100 this week on Conan's podcast. He said that they just released these 8x10s or 10x12s or something of Riddle that are autographed, and he said there's been a 100% every time one of those has been done, the person on it has won the title later. Every time, he said, and they just released it for Riddle, so he says that might mean that they got him set for a title run later. So
Yeah, I don't know about that. If that's the case, then RK Bro is gonna have to break up.
Yep.
oh, it's going to. I mean, Orton will turn on him, but
No.
Then they got a feud.
the team.
We're talking WWE. If anything, Matt Riddle's gonna turn on Orton. It's gonna be the exact opposite.
You think?
Oh yeah. That's the whole Sasha versus Bailey thing. Sasha turned on Bailey originally. Bailey turned on her last. So yeah, if they break up, it's gonna be Riddle.
I mean, the photo thing is a little interesting. I mean, that's a hell of a theory in essence. Because I mean, if it comes to fruition, it's like, oh, okay, maybe he's onto something. But I mean, it's hard to kind of like grasp that when, just recently, the last couple of months, where you had a guy that they've had programs and stuff set up, merch, all that stuff lined up, and then a day later they get released. So it's kind of like, that would be, if the photos were like one of the things that indicated that he's going to get a run or a push towards the title, that's cool. But it's kind of hard to put stock in it because they've done that before with just more than just photos. They did it with, like I said, storylines, TV appearances, merch, and next thing you know, their future endeavors. So it could be true. We'll see, but he'll have to go through Orton first, and that will have to be a feud that will last at least maybe a month or so. And I guess then he works his way up to whoever the champion is at the time.
So does beating Orton give him credibility?
I think so.
I mean, if you beat somebody who's a 14-time world champ, you know, and then maybe he's the one to go after Big E, let's say either at Rumble or at Mania, you know, you've got time to build him up into just the goofy dude, you know, because he does have a legitimate MMA background.
Yeah, and it ain't got to be like in the next few months. I mean, he was just saying that down the line, that's how it's worked out before.
So we fantasy booking here. Is that Riddle's path to the title? Is winning the Rumble? Reason why I say that is because we all know that Reigns is going to have one or two matches, either against Rock or against Brock, one or the other. So if Riddle gets his title shot, eventually.
You don't think it's Drew?
Well, that's who would be fighting Big E right now. Royal Rumble should be Big E versus Drew McIntyre.
No. Drew's on SmackDown, so he would be going against Roman now. So I think that's going to be the eventual setup for Mania. Yeah.
Drew versus Roman?
Yes.
I don't see it. Probably leading up to Mania, yes. Because they've got what, 2 pay-per-views prior to Mania?
Yeah, you're not gonna have Brock just not be at Mania. I mean, and they still got unfinished business from, was that the Saudi match they had? So
right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, you know, so he'll make his appearance somewhere around the Rumble just to show up, and then it builds up to Mania. But back to what you said about Riddle. Didn't he and Orton have a match before?
I think so. Yeah, they did. I think I just put a link to the. I think it's the it's what they were talking about on the show. It's like a 2-minute long YouTube clip. I just put it in the chat, so you want to take a listen to it.
All right.
Our show?
But
Who won that match?
I think I'm pretty certain Orton won.
Now, was this when Riddle first came up?
No, when Riddle first came up, he beat AJ Styles on SmackDown in his first match.
Okay. But I'm saying,
No,
like,
I think it was when Orton turned on him the first time. Then they had a match or two.
Okay. So they've had at least one match.
I believe so.
Okay. Because you got to remember, I mean, we're not supposed to remember that. So if they do decide to go forward with those two again, you know, this would be the first time.
It didn't happen.
yeah, it happened more than beyond yesterday. We're not supposed to remember that, right? Looks like here.
Just like Hit Roll didn't debut on SmackDown 3 weeks ago. A month ago.
Wow. Yeah.
Bro, how many of those draft picks have they released?
Enough.
That's a good question.
That's a whole nother podcast though. WWE releases.
Yeah, and you know, and listening to some other people, it seems like some of them were just vaccine related.
Yeah.
But all right, so I that's especially with the latest ones, they were like the latest round. So you had before last week, you had releases 3 weeks before that.
Right.
So in order to be fully vaccinated, you have to at least have your 2 shots, I guess, within a month. So you have pretty much a month. You get your first shot, then you wait another 2 weeks, then you get your second shot, then you wait another 2. So it's actually a month and a couple of weeks before you fully vaccinated.
Right.
Yeah.
So if
Unless you got the Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, unless you got Johnson & Johnson. Right, okay. So if that was the case, and if you saw the round of releases beforehand, if they were vax related, and if you had people just, because you got some people who just don't take it, that's their prerogative, that's what they want to do, and that's fine. If you make that known and they notice, why not just do all of them all at once? Because, I just find it hard to believe that, especially say, I'll just use an example. I'll use Hit Row as an example. Now, I don't know if some of them were vaccinated, some were not. They didn't want to take it, so you couldn't just have half of the group. So you might as well just eliminate the whole group, which is unfortunate. But if they weren't vaccinated, you knew this, then why even bring them up to the main roster? Why draft them? Why put them on TV? Why start a program with them if you knew down the road that, if you knew beforehand, they weren't going to get vaccinated? That's why kind of like some of them might be, but they're also a publicly traded company. So it's kind of like, wouldn't that have to be known policy? Like, hey, if you're not vaccinated, you can't work here kind of deal?
I'll be honest with you. I don't believe anybody got released because they weren't vaccinated, unless they just flat out went out to management and said, I ain't getting vaccinated, fire me if you want to. Because judging by how the government does it, I work for Lockheed Martin. By how we did it, we followed the government's mandate. We said, you have until this date to get vaccinated, which is January 4th. Mm-hmm. So your first shot isn't due until December, the first or second week of December. Then you get your last shot by then. That's likely how, if they're enforcing vaccination for WWE, they're putting the time on it. They're putting the date on it.
Well, that's what I heard. That's what it was.
Yeah,
it was November 1st. I think it was, you had to be vaccinated, and granted, all these probably weren't, but some of them were. From what I heard, what they said on Conan's podcast, right now the roster is fully vaccinated except for 3 people: Brock, who refuses, Roman, because he's got an exemption because of the leukemia, and AJ Styles isn't. All the others are. So
okay. So now see, this is why I kind of had a hard time
that means
in that direction. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
So that means AJ can't show up tonight because they're in Barclays and everyone must be vaccinated.
That's true.
And that was part of, like, I know that's what they were saying about Nia Jax. They didn't want to go to places like Barclays and Madison Square Garden and have to change things because you had people that were unvaccinated.
Or overseas. They did a tour of England that he was saying they some of them, like what's her name? Sasha Banks. I guess she finally decided to get vaccinated. She was anti-vax for quite a while. So, I don't know if that's the case or not. All I know is that that's what this guy was saying, and he seemed to be pretty accurate with some other stuff.
It just seems weird because in a business or just common sense, you would say, okay, you're not vaccinated, then we're not gonna do nothing with you until you get vaccinated. You don't put them out there on TV, bring them up to the main roster, or have a program start with them, and then come and say, oh, it's because you didn't get vaccinated. You don't start them with them. You wait till they get vaccinated. And if they still don't do it, then you had a prerogative to let them go, do whatever. But that's just a weird way of cutting somebody. Like, I mean, and then also too, if certain people are vaccinated but still able to be on TV, participate in, pay-per-views and things of that nature, then what makes that person, without an exemption, I'll say, with the exception of Roman, or unless they got a religious exemption or whatever, what makes them more special than for them not to get the vaccine, don't have to sit out or be released than me? I mean, because if that's the case, they opening themselves up to a lot
It's
of,
hate.
Yeah,
It's a
more or
complete
less.
mismanagement of talent. There was no reason to pull them off of NXT if you didn't already have plans for them.
Yep.
And if you didn't, if you went against your plans, if you changed your plans, you could have easily sent them back down to NXT. Kept them off TV for a couple of weeks, then sent them back down to NXT. It's not like they changed their contracts when they went up to Raw. They were still making the same amount of crappy money. NXT wrestlers, especially new ones, don't get paid anything, don't get paid much.
Can't or nothing. I'm about to log off and back on.
Yeah, I think they're making about 85 grand.
Leo Rush. I was listening to Leo Rush on whose podcast was that the other day? Chris Jericho's podcast the other day. Leo Rush said when he was he was in NXT, he wasn't making anything. First of all, he looked at his bank account. His bank account was bad, and he went to ask for more money because they had him doing all these things in NXT, and then they brought him up to Raw, and he was about to be Lashley's manager. Still wasn't making any amount of money, so he pretty much got in trouble for asking for more money. And they cut him. Then they brought him back, and he should have tried to negotiate more money or something like that. And because of that, they threw him a title, which was a cruiserweight title. They threw him that title to satisfy his needs. But what he should have said was, I don't need this title, I need money. Because they gave him the title, but he was still making the same crappy contract. He still had the same crappy contract because they just, continued on his same deal. So those guys, they're on TV making chump change. And just because they got called up to the roster, budget cut, there ain't no way.
Yeah, I never really bought. I was just being, giving the benefit of the doubt. But at the end of the day, I never really bought into budget cuts because,
No.
I mean, only if it's budget cuts, that's fine because to me that tells me there's something bigger down the road. But as far as not being vaccinated, I think that was that's just easy to, and they never really came out and said that. That's just speculation. And we're not in the doctor's office. We're not in medical or anything like that. That's just speculation. And to be honest with you, I think that's just speculation because people don't want to go against the old man. They see all these releases, and then it's kind of like, damn, they releasing all these guys. It looks bad on him. So you got the defenders out there that's going to defend him and say, well, we're not gonna say it's because he don't know what the fuck he's doing anymore. Let's just be honest. I'm gonna keep it real. He don't know what the fuck he's doing anymore. And I think people are still holding on to that glimmer of light that he's gonna, somehow just have the magic and he's gonna come back like he was back in the day. No, he doesn't know what he's doing no more. Period. End of story. So when you see all these releases and people getting let go, and then you see them on TV with programs and T-shirts, and one day, the next week they're gone. That's not strategic. That's just some shit he just said, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Or I'm just ready to sell a company. But these people that's out here just defending them like, they just, because he's Vince McMahon. You can't say nothing against him or you'll get fucked or you'll get talked about. That's why I think the vaccination thing is kind of a cover-up to not call him out. That's just my opinion. That's just how I feel. But I don't think it was just, it probably was budget cut, to be honest with you. I mean, but maybe the sale is coming up at the end of 2022. But you know what? If the sale is going to happen, it's not going to happen until the TV contract is about to run out.
Let me tell you how budgets cut work in corporate America. In corporate America, you cut your budget by getting rid of one person and replacing that person with 2 or 3 people.
Cheaper.
Yes. Here's my example. let's say John Morrison was making $400,000 a year. Those three guys with hit row combined were making less than him. They should have stayed. He should have left. That's how you save your budget. That's how you take your budget down. You replace three people with one person. Corporate America is 2 with 1, but in this case, it could have been 5 with 1. It ain't budget cuts. You can throw that out the window.
Well, I don't think it was budget cut. I think that's just a convenient excuse, but that would that replacing 3 with 1 would stick. But or you're saying that we cut 3 and keep 1? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is when you want to cut your budget, you force people to retire because they're making $100,000 a year, and you replace them with 2 or 3 people that can do their job for less.
Yeah.
That's how it works in corporate America. You force them to retire, or you straight up let someone go because you have a replacement in mind and you bring them in at a lower rate.
So here's a conspiracy thought, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but what if it's Vince isn't as much in control as we think he is, and it's what's his name, Nick Khan, who's coming in, and he's out of touch with what wrestling wants, but he's just looking at numbers.
That's
I know
a good possibility.
because I know WWE made a ton of money, and I know if not WWE, I know NXT made a ton of money just touring around the state of Florida, going to high school gyms, and you know what I mean, running spot shows here and there. And I think that's where a lot of the NXT talent, you know what I mean, where they made up their money, from, okay, they were making this, but then they were going to Lakeland High School, doing a show there, signing autographs, blah, blah, blah there. So, and now you're not making that money, and now it's, well, we just need to cut, we need to cut these people so that we make sure that Roman is getting his and whomever else.
Well, I mean, I kind of believe that theory as far as it's not Vince doing it all. They hired Nick Khan for a reason.
Yeah.
And that reason is what you're seeing right now. Now, to be honest, me and my buddy was talking. He made a great point. When they do their quarterly numbers and they come out with the numbers of, well, they made 250 of profit during third quarter or whatever. You got to remember, half of that profit that they made for that quarter is the TV money that's already baked in. All the distribution deals they got with, USA, Fox, overseas TV deals. All that is broken up into quarters to where they can throw that in as a number. So if you really want to know how much they made, it's probably half of what they're reporting. Because like I said, the other numbers are already there. That TV deal is there already, so they just count that as profit. Same with the Saudi Arabia. They count that as profit already because they have Saudi for what they said, a 10-year deal for Saudi. So every quarterly report they have, a segment of that Saudi money is going to be included in their report. So it makes it seem like they're making money. And then that's why people like, oh man, they made all this profit, but they releasing people. You would think like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But when you actually look at it, is that most of that profit comes from TV deals that's already been signed a couple of years ago. And it's just broken up through the years. So it's just like a pro sport contract. Yeah, they make it $200 million, but that $200 million is broken up into 4 or 5 years. So that's how the reports are. And it kind of makes sense to me. Like, it don't make sense to quit all these people if you making profit every quarter. But that's business.
And on top of that, and I don't know, I've never watched their quarterly earnings, so I don't know what they're reporting on. If you think about it, a lot of businesses, especially when they're corporations, they have a lot of companies under their corporation. So for instance, WWE Films. When they're reporting their quarterly earnings, are they talking about their quarterly earnings based off of just wrestling? Or does that include all of their properties?
Yeah, they put everything involved.
So
So how much money is earmarked to WWE performance? That's kind of what I don't understand when it comes to that.
So WWE wrestling is kind of like Alabama football. It pays for everything. And so a couple of years ago, well, more than a couple, but when Linda was running for Senate, they backed her off of the earnings that WWE was making, even though they tried to kind of fudge the numbers, and that was when I had a buddy of mine, because he actually has WWE stock. He would go and he would listen to their, part of their conference calls, and he would break it down, and he would get all pissed off about it.
That's funny. I have WWE stock, but I never watch their quarterly earnings reports. I never look at them. All I know is I bought their stock at $9 and it's at 50 something now. Wish I had a whole lot more though.
I believe that.
yeah. Anyway, I think I'm gonna get off here and to go. I got to go put some meat on the barbecue and get ready to watch this. But
what you grilling?
oh, we got some tri-tip going tonight.
Oh,
Yeah, weather's been great. It was mid 80s again today.
Oh, go fuck off. We don't come here bragging about weather.
It's been 74 in Texas all day.
Fucking
You think
Florida,
you're the first person to tell me that?
You fucking Californian, Florida people. Fuck out of here.
hey man, that's why I moved from Baltimore, man. I got sick of that cold shit.
Yeah, I don't think I can. I mean, I've never liked summer, never liked the heat at all. But I don't think I could live somewhere where, like my sister-in-law and niece and nephew, they all live in Iowa. And
yeah, that's
and woman's car broke down. So she decided to get out, walk to this farmhouse 100 yards away, and froze to death before she got to the farmhouse. I don't think I could live in that stuff. Yeah, I wind chill of 60 below and shit. Fuck all that.
well, it's not as bad.
70
Especially now
all
that
day
I'm
in
fucking
Texas,
old.
Well, when my kid goes away to college, we're thinking about moving to a warm state. So, and that's in 3 years. So we were looking at Arizona, but that's just too fucking hot.
Welcome to Texas.
There's places.
Well, that's where everybody's
Arizona.
moving to. Shit.
There's
Everybody's
places in
moving to
Arizona that aren't blistering hot in the summertime. But,
yeah, we're someone taking a vacation and just to check it out. But yeah, I don't want to. I mean, no disrespect to Florida, but I just don't want to deal with hurricanes and shit. So
no, I couldn't hang with that either.
I don't want to deal with boarded up houses and fucking evacuations and all that shit. And come back, you don't have a home. I can't deal with that. So it's gotta be.
I've been here for 6 years, and we had one that came close, but on the west side, the Tampa side, man, we don't. They said that Tampa hasn't been directly hit in 100 years. So, am I in a safe spot, or is it time? You know what I mean?
It could be time because I didn't think New Orleans would get fucking pounded, and they never lost the whole city. So it's like, or Houston for that matter.
The whole state suffered.
Right.
Katrina.
I mean, shit, Houston for a couple years ago. I would have thought Houston would get hit hard like that.
So we're not talking about Charlotte versus Becky.
Oh well, they're walking in. You know, they just showed them walking in.
They gonna fight tonight?
I'm sitting there looking at the red zone. Hold on.
It's gonna be a shoot.
I think you'll see a couple potatoes.
Yeah,
Wait, they showing them walking in like they do the NBA players and shit?
Yeah. They were.
Oh yeah, this will work. They really trying to push that. You know, they're coming in separate entrances, and you know, the LeBron walk. You know, Westbrook coming in dressed like a fairy. That's cool that they're doing that. I mean, that's I think they should do that more often. To be honest with you,
Absolutely.
I think like especially like pay-per-view. I think they should do that more often. Where not like no red carpet thing, but just you see people coming out of a limousine, a bus, their car, or whatever. Just show them walking the catwalk. You know, they should do that more.
Why are you at Boston?
Arriving at the arena.
Yeah, you know how they do in the NBA when they show the players walk to the locker room and they got the split screen.
Yeah.
And, you know, they got their little man purses and all that shit. And
Yep.
they got their little shades on.
Yep.
I think they should do that.
And don't forget Shinsuke Nakamura's fighting Damian Priest tonight. Don't forget about that shit.
Yeah,
That's going to be on the pre-show, and that actually might be good.
Was that on the pre-show?
Yeah.
So wait a minute. When is the 25-man battle royal?
I think that's on the pre-show also.
So they got 2 full matches on the pre-show? Wow. Wow. So are we getting like a 45-minute Roman versus Big E match?
You get some of these 5-on-5 eliminations, man. They might go a little long.
I guess so. Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. Let's see. Bianca Belair will be the sole survivor for the women. And I think it's going to be likely Lashley or Drew McIntyre for the men.
I think it's going to be Drew. They're building Drew up.
Are they?
They're building Drew up.
You don't think Happy Corbin's got a chance there?
I don't know. Do I think Happy Corbin has a chance?
You know what? I mean, why not? I mean, at this point, you're drawing them out the same amount of views you are now. Nothing's really, there's no dramatic shift going up or down. Why not fucking give Corbin a push? Hell, make it entertaining. Just do something out of the box. Because, sometimes you get tired of seeing the same old people milling around at that main event level. Bring somebody up from the mid card. Let them have a nice little program with us for a month or two. Cycle them out, bring somebody else in. Fucking, why not?
Why not Balor then?
Yeah. Austin Theory.
So this is what I'm saying. A fresh face goes a long way.
I think Austin Theory is going to be a mid-card champion soon.
So you said they're in the Barclays?
I believe so. I believe they're in Barclays tonight.
Yeah, I think that's what they said. Can you? I saw Austin Theory, and I immediately saw this dude is going to be WWE champion one day. When I saw him in Evolve. When I saw him in Evolve, yes. As soon as I saw him in Evolve the first time, I was like, man, this dude's going to be WWE champion one day. He already looks like Cena. Back then, he looked just like Cena. He added the goatee and everything to take that look away. But he looked like Cena was when Cena first came up. Just not as thick. But
Amir.
I don't know, man. I just saw WWE champion on that dude.
S.A.W.
He's
So the fucking King don't age for shit.
They're all on
he
TV.
is
He doesn't
exactly what Vince likes.
I got a mini. Got a mini right there. Mini.
Enough said.
You know, good size, good look. He pops, man. And I think he pops more than
Look, the same
guys that are probably better in the ring than him. Oh my.
Now let me. Are they outside the Barclays Center right now?
It looks like it.
All right, guys, I'm gonna jump off here, man. This was we need to get let's do this a little more some more.
Oh yeah. I'll set something up. I'll take a couple notes. We'll
You guys
throw
have a
together
good
a brand
Look at a
split.
format and follow it.
All right, man. Enjoy the show.
All right.
Yeah.
All right,
All right,
see you,
guys.
Pat.
All right, bye.
The beautiful Kayla Braxton.
Quick planning.
I'm not ready. I'm not. See, I'm not good.
So I can put something together where we can do like a 30-minute brand split podcast.
I got it.
30-minute brand split chat. Let me stop recording.